Good evening, everybody. Time to make some spheres again tonight. And tonight we're going to be working on, once again, some nice antigerite. Looking forward to this one, actually. It's going to be pretty awesome. So, hope you guys are looking forward to it too. I actually got a little squirrely tonight and started out with the 100 already. This is a bigger one. This is a 4-inch. So, I wanted to make sure that I had the machine dialed in and figured out all its little quirks before, starting live. So we're going to be starting out with the 200 grit tonight, moving on through the stages all the way up to 10,000. And yeah, it's going to be a nice one. So as you can see, you got the notification today, huh? Good to see you, Steve. So yeah, this should be a really nice one. I got the camera just dialed in a little bit better. But yeah, it's been a busy week. As you can see here, I've been working on quite a bit. These are all 4-inch right here. Got a couple of the 3.5s like we've been doing. And then a couple of the 3-inch right here. So it's pretty nice. But, we're going to be getting some rain here in the next couple days starting tomorrow. Actually, it's raining outside right now. So looks like it's shop time, huh? But yeah, let's get this thing started. I did notice that there are a couple little quirks about this machine that we're gonna have to be dealing with here. So one of the things is you can see that it's kind of doing a weird sideways pattern right now, which that's fine, but we can't continue to let it do that. Eventually what will happen is that whole top is not going to get polished. So what I've been doing to adjust that is I just barely shim it up a little bit, and you can see that the pattern has changed a little bit. And so I've been going through and just kind of making sure that if we're not getting full coverage there, I just do a little bit of shimming. Other than that, the machine seems to be working pretty well tonight. We also have a little bit of gaps on the side here that sometimes I'll just have to shift it over slightly, and that will change the rotation on everything. When we're working with a home build machine, it's just what you got to do. So glad you guys showed up tonight. Good to see you there, Epoch. Sorry I missed your call a second ago, buddy. I was prepping for the stream and didn't hear it until I was looking down at the phone. Well, these days I'll get you a set of them airbags. Yeah, the only thing about the airbags and even the shims here is what that's doing is it's putting a little bit of stress on the motor because it's uneven. And so I try to make sure that, I set the machine up as best I can and then go from there. A little bit of shimming I've noticed doesn't hurt, but yeah, I have noticed that it does heat up. The motors will heat up when I do shim. That's kind of the unfortunate part, but there's not really much I can do about it. So I'll show you a couple. So we have that kind of sideways rotation, right? And see now just with a little marginal adjustment, we've changed the rotation of it just slightly. And so if I just lock this in a little bit and then just ever so slightly shim that up, you can see now it's got a whole different rotation on it. So it's kind of wonky and stuff, but hey, that's what we're doing. Fortunately, I've got some really nice material and it's not too hard, so we don't have to keep it in the machine for super long. Lately what I've been doing is about 10 minutes per grit, so it's not too bad. But I think with these larger spheres, they do take a little bit longer. So for instance, I have this guy, this one. I had this one in the machine for the roughing machine for like 3.5 hours. It's a long time. But I also think it's just a little bit harder material. So, those are the kind of things that you're going to have to deal with on it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fortunately though, I've been working primarily with a bunch of soft material there, Steve. Really, I think that if I bumped up to something like agate or that Medfordite from my recent video, you're going to probably have a little bit of an issue there because it's a wonky machine. But we do get quite a good finished product at the end, so long as I'm putting the effort into it. Hey Tracy, good to see you. And yes, I have been busy. It has been super busy lately. We do have quite a bit ready to go, and so I've just been trying to get as much done as possible. That, and I've had quite a few spheres sell in the past week, so I got to get inventory kind of back going. And that's not to mention the show that's coming up here the second weekend of March over at the Expo in Central Point. So got to have as many spheres as I can ready for that. The only problem I've really been having lately is, grinding the edges down. So I ended up getting a new disc for my my angle grinder because I've seen a couple of the pros using the angle grinder and a concrete disc, and so I tried that and it was terrible. I mean, it worked great, don't get me wrong, but like I had to wear a full rain suit, had to have a respirator on, safety glasses, face shield, the whole 9 yards. And then, I mean, it was just absolute mess. Plus, the thing that sucks with it too is you only have about an inch of grinding surface, and so you really have to kind of like learn how to move the sphere in the correct way. So what I think I'm actually going to be doing, I was looking on Kingsley North, and they have a 60 grit crosshatch 8-inch wheel that I'm probably going to be getting for Frank back there once they have them back in stock. And it's only like $111, so it's not too bad. But it will be so much quicker, and I won't have to hook up a hose and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, things have been going really well. And we've got quite a few nice sizes going too. Actually, looking forward to doing these. I've got 2 of these ones right here, come off of the same rock, but they're the snowflake style. They call it new jade. So down in New Zealand, this would be snowflake jade, but since we're not in New Zealand, we just call it snowflake style. But yeah, this one's going to be really nice. And fortunately, I've actually got 3 of these. So I'm really looking forward to these. Now the other one, unfortunately, has got this big white patch. Let's see if I can show you. I still have to grind out. So I've still got to grind that out. And the only really bad thing about that is I'm probably going to lose, maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of diameter on this one. But with how awesome it is, I'm not really too worried about a little bit of loss in diameter. And then I also have a nice 3.5, which is, what we've been doing. And this one's actually extremely similar to the one we have in there right now because I cut it right off the side, right off to the left. It was a pretty big boulder. So yeah, that's been a busy week. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to get out. I'm thinking probably next week, midweek, to go get some more. And then we can start the process all over again, Hey, what's up there, Nate? I hope you're having a good time down there in Tucson. Saw your post this morning. Looks like you guys were already enjoying yourself. But yeah, we got 4-inching tonight. A little bit bigger than we've been doing. It's requiring a little bit of learning on the machine, but it's all right. Sure does look good though. Hey Casey, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I had to get the old Red Bull tonight. Was kind of tired actually. I think it was just the clouds and everything. You get those overcast days and it just kind of wears on you a little bit. But that, and I've been in the shop since, oh geez, probably about 8:30 this morning. Like I said, these larger spheres have been taking a whole lot longer in the roughing machine. The one I just finished up was like 3.5 hours, which reminds me I better set that timer again, or reset the timer I should say. But yeah, that was definitely a long one. Longest one so far actually, but I think it's going to be pretty wicked. It's got a lot of character on it. And but this one I think is going to be my favorite, and so I chose to do it tonight. Oh hey, thanks Casey. Yeah, we really did well out there. Hey Zenoth, how you doing? Oh, living the dream, right? Still rolling. But yeah, we got some good stuff going on tonight. I just find it a little weird how we're having to adjust the machine, just in the size difference. It's really bizarre because the 3.5s, it seems like I could put it in there, set it, we're good. Maybe do a little bit of wiggling here and there, and we'd get the result. This one, I tell you what, just with a 1/2 inch difference, it's like it changes the whole structure, of the machine, or the whole, operation. But yeah, hey, it's good to hear, man. It's good to see you too. Appreciate you joining tonight. But yeah, we have been running a little bit more water, and that's primarily so you guys can see what's going on, because it is nice to be able to actually see the movement of the sphere itself, and especially when I'm doing minor adjustments like this, because that way it's like, okay, what do we actually got going? And so you can see right there, now it's doing a more of a horizontal rotation. Really weird. And then if I shim that one up, it horizontals even more. So yeah, for the most part, we're just going to be marginally adjusting this here and there and making sure we get a good enough pattern. And then, yeah. So for those of you just joining, wanted to let you know that I did skip I didn't skip it. I already did the 100. But we're on the 200 right now, and we're just going to be cruising through it. I did notice that these larger spheres do seem to take a little bit longer per grit, and so we're going about 10 minutes per grit, which ain't that bad really. That's also why I wanted to kind of skip that 100 a little bit on stream, because really we don't see a whole lot. Tell you what though, the roughing machine has been doing some work. It's been running since like 8:30 this morning. It's pretty awesome. Oh man. Oh, so we got the JD in the house, huh? Is that who Zeno is? Oh jeez. Calling me the old man. Oh man. This guy. Hey Ron. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, that was some really wicked stuff, huh? That Medfordite is pretty awesome. And we still have a little bit more that we can harvest, but we're to the point now that that pocket is just brutal. I mean, we had feather wedges up there and everything, and we were really struggling to get anywhere. I do think, though, maybe if we had a little bit bigger feather wedges, we'd probably be able to go a little bit more. But yeah, for the most part, we're probably gonna be waiting a little bit to go back up on there. That's good to see you, Zeno. Good to see you, buddy. I enjoy you, or I'm glad you found the stream, man. It's been a while. You should let me know next time you come out to Oregon, bro. We'll take you out to the mine. Epoch and I are doing the Oregon Sunstone mining now. Looking smooth. Minor adjustments mean degrees for me. Yep, exactly. But as you can see, it just kind of funky. And what's weird too is like I had it set up just like I was setting up the 3.5s, you know. And so when we take this one off to switch out the cups, I'll show you what I mean. But you know, for the most part, we're still getting the results that we want. So as long as we get the results, it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, and so two of those motors are actually already warming up, which is kind of odd, but that's just what's going to happen. Hopefully we don't have any issues. I don't see why we would, but you never know. And so you saw how right there when I was stopping it, it just kind of slowly stops, and like the cups are all touching. So we shouldn't have too many issues there. But you know, if the motors are getting hot, then that's something we're just going to have to pay attention to. Got a little heater in here tonight. So yeah, like before, that's about how I have it. I'd have these two set up like that to where it will just kind of sit in there. But yeah, as you can see, it's got some pretty wicked characters. So let's get this one on to the next stage. Make sure we didn't miss a spot, you know. Yeah, this one's going to be incredible. Yeah, see, this is where it'd be nice to have a little bit better camera because, you know, sometimes it gets a little wonky and just blurs the whole sphere. But, I mean, you can see right now that it's got a pretty decent pattern. You know, we're getting kind of that serpentine type movement on it, which is totally fine, but I do want to dial that water back just a little bit so we're not having too much hydroplaning there. Um, because you can kind of see, I think it's about right there, yeah, the bubbles a little bit. That's fine. It's not terrible, but it's not exactly what we want. And so you can see the pattern right there. Now if I slide this right here just a little bit, it changes it, which that's what happens when you have a home build machine. You know, for now, this is what we got. I think here in the future though, if we can get enough of these, enough of these spheres sold, and we do really nice this mining season, we're gonna upgrade to the Highland Park high-speed three-headed machine, which that one is incredible. It can take it down from, I would say it takes me about, an hour or two, depending on the size and how much trouble the machine's given me, everything like that, to about 10 minutes. And that's no joke. They're saying that on the website it says that you can do 100 to 125 spheres per week. And I would assume that's calculated on something like 8-hour days and, all your preforms being done and everything like that. So, but regardless, it would be incredible to have that. The only thing is like, the machine itself is like 3,600, and then the cups that I need are like, I think about $1,200 to $1,400 per full set. So Thanksgiving, this Valentine's Day, they're actually having a sale, and so 10% off on the machines and 5% off on cups. And so I'm hoping that next year they'll have the same sale so I can take advantage of it. I just don't think I'll be ready in 7 days, unfortunately. But hey, if they do the sale again next year, we'll be ready. But yeah, rotation's looking pretty good. Pretty stoked about this machine, to be honest. I picked them up for cheap. It's not the best, but it sure does work. And I think before too long, we'll probably end up getting the other cup sizes from Highland Park. I talked to them the other day about that sale, and I was like, hey, where's my cups? I've been waiting since November 1st. Come on, guys. This is getting a little ridiculous at this point. And they're like, March. We're getting the container in March. I'm like, okay. Just, come on. It's been too long. And that's actually a problem I have with these little guys, is I do have some cups. But they just do not work that well, to be honest. You'd think they'd be all right? Because they have that diamond brazing in there, but I feel like you would be better off pouring grit in there, like the old school way. Which I might actually do, to be honest, if I end up messing around. Because all you got to do is kind of build up like a slurry, and it will help, but it ain't gonna help a lot. It's silicon carbide. No matter what, it's going to be slow. I'd be better off grinding it with Frank back here. Went to Brookings looking for Jasper, just found nothing but Big Mountain Rainbow shirt. It was quite beautiful. I bet it is, man. Hey, Oregon Territory Adventures, good to see ya. Get the container in March, but then they got to sort it in inventory. Yeah, so exactly. And Steve, what the great part is about that is I'm probably gonna get my cups delivered right about the time I'm leaving to go mining. It's just my luck. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do, right? I'd rather be out mining anyway. Get them sunstones. Hey Debbie, good to see ya. Thanks for joining tonight. Hey, by the way, how was the sound tonight, guys? I have the settings the same as I did last week, and I'm trying to replicate the sound as last week. Oh man, I tell you, sometimes I got the worst luck. Terrible. How are we doing? Yes. Good to see you tonight. Or Yesel. Appreciate you coming. Steve, we're going to be pit mining. So we're going to have another miner come out there with his excavator, because Rabbit Basin only has a handful of sunstone miners. It's the only place you can get these Oregon sunstones, though, in the world. So kind of surprised there's not more people, but there's an old timer out there who just got a really awesome excavator jackhammer attachment, and so we're gonna have him come down, break up the ground for us, and Epoch and I are just gonna be hammering, going through and doing a whole lot of sorting and sifting. We're gonna be starting out. That's the best way to put it, to be honest. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of hand tools and shakers and sifters and stuff like that. But for the most part, that's how they do it at the other mines anyway. The only big difference is they have mechanized operations to make their concentrates. But we'll get by. We've got plenty of manpower, I cut bi-cylinders. Oh, with the drill press, really? Yeah, see, I use the core drill. Tempted to poke around the Ozarks a bit. There's some neat stuff. Plus, there's a whole dilapidated castle out there to explore around. Dude, you should, that sounds awesome. And you should record some video of it so we can see. Yeah, open pit there, Steve. Which ain't too bad. Red Funky Jaspers from Japan. I've been working with them since I moved here. They're pretty. Oh, yeah. That would be great. Anything Japanese, to be honest. I was a sushi chef for like 12 years or something like that. So I kind of have an affinity for Japanese stuff. Oh, yeah. See how we're just changed that up just a little bit? Just by shimming it. It gives it that marginal amount of spin shift. Oh yeah, Casey, we're going to be working hard. Mostly Epoch, though. We're going to be making sure he's working real hard. Get my email about Michigan Rock's homemade machine? I did. I've seen a lot of home builds out there, and it's all about the final product. If they can get a good product in the end, then yeah. But I'll tell you what, nothing compares to the professional machines, that's for sure. I'm just going to adjust this slightly. There we go. I've drilled, seen that epic. Oh yeah, buddy. Sous chef rock counts. How did this come about? Well, when I quit doing the sushi gig and went back to school, I had a little bit of spare time on my hands and always liked rock hounding, so decided instead of going and doing some worthless internship, I would start a channel and see where I could go with that. It's been a lot of fun, made a little bit of cash, but for the most part, it's just getting started, I mean, I've been doing it for 5 years now, I think, and, I haven't been quite as serious as I want to be. I've had a lot of hiccups, a lot of roadblocks. Car has been a huge issue, but now that we're getting the mining operation going, it's going to be pretty big. I think it's going to help out a lot. And hopefully I'll be ready for Tucson next year. No, my dad wasn't too much into the rocks, to be honest, Steve. We got dial in. Oh yeah, buddy. We're working on it. We are working on it, one of mine. That's for sure. If we had a little bit smaller smaller cups, man, we could be making some eyes for your eagles, for those wood eagle you made, man. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, Michigan Rocks using the three drill setup. Yeah. Yeah, so the thing about the three drills, though, is you'll burn through those things like no problem. Give it maybe a couple months. They're not designed to do stuff like that. And so they're not going to last very long. And even with a machine like this, part of the problem is you have crazy tolerances. I mean, look at this, huge gaps in this. Professional machines, you don't have that, and so now you got to learn a bunch of extra stuff that you really shouldn't have to. So, I mean, it works, but like I said, I think it's novelty. I mean, even this machine, they did an okay job on this, but if you measure this thing out, it's kind of sad. But it does get pretty awesome results. So can't really complain too much. And ultimately, this is going to help pay for the new machine, so that's where we're shooting for. Oh yeah, yes sir, Epoch. We'll get it. Hey, thanks, Casey. Appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. The spindles work. And nowadays you can get motors so cheap. Why not do it the right way? The only thing I wish, if I was going to build my own machine, I wouldn't build it out of wood, that's for sure. I would do everything in steel. Welding's not that difficult, and there's a ton of machine shops around, just fabrication shops in general, and so I figured wood is, that's not the best. Just not the best. Plus, like even right here, even though they use three of the same boards, these boards are not even the same width. And so you're going to have kind of like unknown variables, or, well, potentially known variables, but you're going to have these variables that you can't really control for. Because if you're buying a standard width of wood and they're not all the same, well, it's not like you're going to stretch the wood out. The only thing you can do is shave it down to try to make them all the same, which, why don't you just use steel? But hey, I think that just being able to do it in general is good enough. And I think that if you do end up liking it enough to go to the next stage and do something like a pro machine, starting out with something like this is going to be, well, it's a good starting place. Been thinking about creating a sculpture of some kind, maybe an octopus holding spheres. Oh my god, that would be bad. You just let me know, buddy. I got a lot of spheres. And we're going to have a lot more, too. I got a lot more that I'm working on right now. I think we're about ready to change this out. Yeah, and so you see how this back cup right there, when we turned it off, it was the last motor to stop spinning. Means our pressure is pretty on point. Because if they instantly just stop as soon as you turn the machine off, that means we have too much pressure on the ball. Check this one out real quick. Got to make sure we didn't miss any spots. Looks good. Hey, look at that. First try, not too bad. So, catch up here with Chad a little bit. Oh God, I'm not very good with my left hand here. One rock at a time. Good to see you. Thanks for joining tonight, buddy. Hey, thanks, Oregon Territory Adventures. This is going to be a really nice one, buddy. I'm really, really stoked about this one. When I found the boulder, I knew it was going to be just wicked, and I got 3 good cores out of it, 2 4-inch and then 1 3.5. So, I mean, I probably could have snuck another small one out, but yeah, just figured. Yeah, it's definitely going to give at some point there. Yes'll. So, I mean, but hey, you know, making a few here and there, if you're going to make 1 or 2 a year or something like that, you know, then yeah, a little wood machine like this, not too bad. But if you're going to be trying to do a lot of production, excuse me, you need to bump up to a professional machine as soon as possible. Some of the folks we used to run with got welding professionally, but that could help out with the build. Yeah, exactly, man. And I got a buddy who works at a precision machine shop out there in White City. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, potentially getting him to do some cool stuff. Because, I mean, even though I want to get the Highland Park high-speed machine, I don't really want to use that for the roughing. And so it'd be nice to have a machine like this, but more professionally built. Because this is a slow-speed machine, and we want something burly that when I'm doing all the roughing, you know, it's shaking like crazy sometimes. And so we want something that's going to be strong and be able to hang with that. Oh yeah. Yeah, we've got quite a few here, Debbie. We've been working and we got a lot more to go. Hey, Rock Dude. Hey, speaking of Zeno, Rock Dude is my buddy out there and the machinist. He actually helped me build my core drill rig. He's pretty good, man. Hey, dude. Better late than never, Rock Dude. Appreciate you coming tonight. If you had large enough boulder to start with, yeah. Daniel, that would be awesome. And you know what? You could probably do a small sink. I can find some pretty big material. This stuff, though, oh, man. I mean, I've seen a couple big boulders. You know, we're talking thousands of pounds. But it's really tough, too, because you don't know, like, what's going to be inside. It can look good, but I think this stuff forms in veins. And so getting a really big vein of it is going to be tough. And you would be paying through the teeth for something like that. Exactly, Casey. And that's exactly why I want to get that Highland Park machine. Like, really bad. The Highland Park machine is so burly. I mean, we're talking like, I mean, it's professional. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And the wicked thing is you know that they thought about it when they were actually doing it. These people have made a bunch of spheres, right? Just, you know, tons. And so, like, so you see how I have to move my my cups back. Got to slide my motors back every time. They have a foot pedal to where you pop it, you know, press the foot pedal down, and all 3 of the motors go like this. And then when you let go, it puts it right back to where it was. Chef's kiss on that one, dude. I cannot wait. But like I said, it's a pricey machine, so I got some work to do before I can actually get there. But hey, as you can see, I've been working and trying to get stuff going, so, you know, hopefully it'll happen sooner rather than later. And if we do really good this mining season, maybe it'll happen real soon. But, you know, it's just about getting going. Ooh, a pro chessboard. That sounds awesome, Debbie. Yeah, I can't wait to check it out. Sorry, I've been meaning to get back to you, but as you can see, I've just been crazy busy. Lately, you know, I've just been working to get like a bunch of these preforms done. Been doing a whole lot of core drilling. I knew that the rain was coming, so I wanted to make sure that I could get as much done before that came. You know, but fortunately now, it will be turn the machine on, let it go, and I'll be able to catch up on some of the stuff But yeah, definitely just want to let you know there. Did you get down to the Rock Museum today? Nah, man. Yeah, I wanted to Oregon, but problem is I was running my roughing machine literally since like 8:30 this morning, all day, all day. But you know, I've had a few spheres selling this last week, so I'm trying to get my inventories up, you know, and I'm hoping that will keep sales up. Um, I got them over on rockhound.com now, so we're getting some eyes on them, and that's really what's important, you know. But problem I'm having is these bigger ones. They take so much longer to rough out. I'll tell you, they take so much longer to rough out, like easily double. But hey, whatever. I'll get a little extra per sphere. I just think that for some reason the 3.5 inch is like the perfect size for this machine. It just works really well, and it's quick. Actually, for both machines, to be honest. Got the shelf mounted, huh? That's awesome, dude. That's awesome, man. I went and spent money. It seems to happen every time I go there. Yeah, bud. That's what it's all about. You know, this is where you got to have a good. You should get a membership there because you know now you can go down there, use all the machines. I mean, you saw all the saws and cab machines and everything like that. It's convenient, you know, especially if you're into cutting big rocks and everything. Just saw the new coming. Yeah, it was impressive at 5K. Yeah, you know the thing is though is Covington stuff is good, but I'd rather have Highland Park. I think they've just put more thought into it. Hey, Washington Gold Prospecting, good to see you. Thanks for joining tonight. If you order the Highland Park speed machine now, you might get it before next year. So I was talking to Sunshine, one of the ladies down there at Highland Park, and they said that they could have it to me in 3 or 4 weeks if I bought it now. Unfortunately, I don't have the money. So, and in fact, if I bought it in the 13th through the 15th of this month, I would get 10% off. And so I'm like, oh, dang it. Of course, they could get it to me quick and I would get a discount, but of course, I can't afford it. So that's just the way life is sometimes, right? Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Oregon Territory. Yeah, I mean, it's working, you know. To be honest, there's a few of them that are kind of hard to let go, though. Like this one, for instance. This one's going to be really difficult to let go. Fortunately, I have, you know, like I said, 2 more just like it. So I might end up keeping maybe the small one for myself. But you know, that's the hardest part I would say about doing the spheres is I like to keep them. This is the whole reason I got into making spheres in the first place. It wasn't to sell them. It's because there's only 2 types of things that I actually buy. Like whenever I go out to a rock show or to a rock shop or something like that. And it's either fluorite specimens or spheres. And so it's like, oh yeah, one day I'll be making spheres, you know. And now it's like, well, I don't really want to get rid of these things, but also at the same time, I want to have the better machine. So that's kind of like, okay, I guess I'll sell them. Rewatched the currently rock hounding video yesterday on spheres. Yeah, it's a really good video. That guy's got a professional shop. I've seen it quite a few times now, actually. Adjust this a little bit. Nope, I don't like that. I'm going to do this side. Nope. Well, maybe we'll just let this go for a second. Oh, you are a member. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yes, it is, Denise. This is the Applegate Jade. And in fact, all of this is Applegate Jade. Even this one right here. Ooh, here, let me show you real quick. Never seen the white stuff before, huh? That's the only time I've ever found it. And actually, I got a new friend there that I met, and they've got a jade mine up there. And so before too long, I'm going to be going up to a proper mine up there to find some stuff. Oh yeah, buddy. Zeno, ain't it the truth, man? Fortunately, it's not like boating or something like that. Because what they say with boats, right? Break out another 1,000 or something like that. There we go. That's not too bad. Hey, James. Thanks for joining tonight. Good to see you. Is this 6-inch? No, this is actually only a 4-inch. It's nice though, huh? It looks just so much bigger compared to the 3.5s that we've been doing. It's crazy because it's only a 1/2 inch bigger. What's even crazier is when you look at a 4.5 inch, these things look huge. Actually, I'm working to get bigger cups too, so we can do larger spheres. I think 6-inch is going to be probably my cap, because of course I'm going to want to do rainbow obsidian. You mean that thing up on the wall there, Epoch? Yes, I do. But it's not a Dremel, bro. It's a flex shaft. Well, with what you have, I think you... Exactly, Debbie. That's true. It's very true. And here's the thing about starting out from the bottom is when you actually get to the place you're trying to go, you appreciate it more, And so not only have you learned a whole lot of stuff on the way there, but you also appreciate, being there a whole lot more. Bust out another 1,000. Yeah, exactly. How much of a 4-inch antigerite sell? I'm doing the 3.5s for $250 with a discount, like 15% off is I think what we're running right now. And I think we're probably going to do like 300 on these. So, but that also gets 15% off as well. Just make sure you use your discount code, all that stuff. But yeah, we're going to try to make it to where they're all priced, fairly. So, because a lot of the times, you can get the cheaper ones with the small stuff from like Asia, but the quality is never going to be the same. And you can only go up to a certain size because the way that they're making them is like beads, And so usually what you'll see is a lot of like 2.5 inch, sometimes up to about 3 inch, but you'll never see anything. Well, rarely do you see anything bigger. But yeah, James, if you're looking for something, check out rockhound.com or send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, and we can talk about some stuff. Gary Green from McDermott this summer for different greens. Yeah, and that's the other thing about the high-speed machine is I'll actually be able to do, harder material without having to really eat up as much time. Started with a $6 tumbler, and well, yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, it does look a lot bigger, doesn't it? One of mine. Hey, Reload. Good to see you tonight. Do you make these out of other people's material? Yeah, I will, but it just kind of depends. Variable sizes. So basically, I do $50 an inch. Is, pretty much the going rate. But yeah, a lot of the times it's like, do I have time? Because right now it's kind of busy because I'm trying to get everything up for the show. So it depends. One of mine rock, it does depend how how the material comes. And so if you have it cubed up already for me, then it's a lot easier to core drill, and I can have smaller rocks. Hey, Sticks and Stones, thanks for joining tonight. Hey, Romania, good to see you again. I hope you're doing well over there. Just did an unboxing, Epic Rainbow Obsidian from Davis Creek. Oh man, I love Rainbow Obsidian. I definitely like the Rainbow Obsidian over there from Davis Creek too, but I think if it's up to me, I like the Rainbow or the Glass Bead stuff a little bit better. But that's just because that's where I usually dig. So yeah, this one's going to be super awesome. Get this one all dried up and ready to go. Oh man, yeah, I was on live today, 4 hour talking. Took a toll on my throat. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That's why I tried to get these down to about 2 hours. It was just, there was a couple where I did like 5+ hours, and I was like, whoa, it was pretty rough by the end. All right, on to 800. So you see how we got kind of a funky pattern, right? But really, I'm not that burnt about it because ultimately, it makes it really easy for me to just swap my position. Oh, hold on. There we go. Not too bad. Gotta head out for a bit. Hey man, thanks Zeno. Appreciate you showing up, buddy. Good to hear from you. And Rainbow Obsidian is awesome. Oh yeah, absolutely, Reload. Always here to help, buddy. Yeah, I love the mahogany stuff, and that's one big thing I'll be making tons of spheres of. But the problem is going back to like home build machines like this, obsidian is something that you're basically never going to be able to do. It's too finicky. And so doing some of these materials is going to be fine. But Rainbow Obsidian, it just takes way better stuff. Because, yeah, you're going to have leather cups that you could make, but ultimately, getting that higher grit polish is going to be way better from production cups as opposed to the home build stuff. Oh, hey, Rock Dude. Thanks, buddy. I don't know if we can actually call you a pebble pup, though. Geez, he's one of the most experienced people around. This guy knows what he's got going. Yeah, so this is the 800 epoch. And yeah, it's kind of a funky pattern right now, rotation pattern. But for the most part, it's I've noticed that this one's actually easier to adjust. And weirdly enough, it's not always just with the shims. And so you see how I got that right there, just by barely shimming it up. Hey, thanks, Debbie. Appreciate that. Tell you you're not yelling at the mic. It's fine. Yeah. I'm trying not to. You know, the sound has been one of the biggest things that I've been struggling with, to be honest. Because how do you really, drown out the machine and keep it to where you're speaking at a normal volume? It's a little rough. Plus, I'm kind of a loud guy as it is. But I definitely appreciate the feedback there. Because ultimately I'm trying to make these streams the best I can for you guys. And I don't want you guys to be, uncomfortable by the sound or something, So you see how just that little bit of adjustment does weird stuff. And we didn't ever have this problem with the 3.5 inch, which was crazy. But hey, this is what it's about, You just figure it out, dial it in. Because ultimately, we do have a product that, a decent product we're working with, or at least the ball itself. I put a lot of time into making sure that it's completely sphere. So then once we actually get over to here, then it's a lot easier. And all we got to do is focus on that rotation. So it's kind of like I was telling Epoch earlier, what we're trying to do, and anytime we're talking about lapidary stuff, because he's learning how to facet, right? We know that there's going to be a whole lot of different variables. And so what do we try to do is identify the variables and reduce as many of them as we possibly can, right? And so with a machine like this, there's only going to be so many things we can do to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, if you look at a lot of the pro machines, you can see that every time they put it in there, it's, rotating. The rotation pattern is exactly how it should be. Unfortunately, we don't get those kind of luxuries, so we've got to mess around. So you see that right there? And that's just a little slide. So see how crazy that is? And so what I like to do is I find just that sweet center spot and try to get it to where we get full coverage, Hey, appreciate the feedback there, Oregon. Definitely trying, Man, look at the gloss on this stuff. And I really like how it's got the light and dark mix. That's going to be really, really nice. And it's also going to be really cool because we know we have another 2 of these behind it. There's also a couple other that I did recently. Unfortunately, this one that I was working on today, yeah, you can see it from there. So that's some deep scratches from the angle grinder when I was grinding off all the edges to make the preform. And so I didn't notice it until I got it out and was like, oh, well, looks like I gotta go a little bit deeper on that one. But this stuff is really nice. And I got 2 of these as well. And actually one of the ones that we sold on the website there last week was a snowflake kind. So I figured, yep, might as well do another couple. So one of mine, it's actually hard to say, bud, because this is a blend. Most of the time you're looking at about a 5, so it's rather soft, but you see the darker material, that's actually marginally harder than the lighter material. And so, yeah, and on top of it, there's little metallic inclusions in it. and those make it a little harder in spots as well. But fortunately, most of the stuff that I find and process has pretty small inclusions in it. See how small the inclusions were on that one. And that's actually pretty decent. Now, if you can get them smaller, that's great, but a lot of the time they're going to be huge. Yeah, so Reload, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, just send me a message, man. We can talk about it. Rogue Rockhound, or you can send it to, like, I'm the admin of a bunch of different Facebook groups. So Southern Oregon Rockhounds, I'm the admin of that. Easy way to find me. But the fastest way to get a hold of me is through Instagram. I also have my email address on my YouTube channel. There's a little like more section where it says some description about me and whatnot. But yeah, send me an email or Instagram, you know. Those are the fast ways to do it. And yeah, we can definitely figure something out, that's for sure, because the obsidian is pretty wicked. So yeah, one of mine asks, how many hours does it take to turn out one of these? Well, you know, it just kind of depends, to be honest. If we're going off of the 3.5 inch, so one of these guys, that's what we've been doing. And the core drilling, I've got to core drill it 3 times. And that's one of the reasons I do like this material as well, is because it actually drills it pretty quick. So usually it takes me about an hour and a half to go through all 3 stages of core drilling. Then it usually takes me about another hour, hour and a half to get it all preformed on the machine. And then we got, you know, probably like another hour or 2 in my polishing stage, or the, you know, pre-polish and polish stages. So we are speeding up, but the thing is there is no speeding up grinding down the edges, you know, because, oh, let's see. So after you core drill it, right, you're going to have all these edges. And so I've got to go through and I've got to grind all those edges off and then make it as sphere-like as possible. Then once I have that, which is basically what we're looking at like on this thing, from there, can I get it back in the cup? Yeah. From there, we throw it in the roughing machine. So, yeah, I mean, usually I would say, you know, we're looking safely at about 5 hours, 6 hours. It also kind of depends how much of a pain in the butt this machine's been, because sometimes, I'll tell you what, I can't get this machine to do what I want to save my life. Sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, thanks, buddy. You know, appreciate it. But other times, it's just like, nope, I don't want to do anything today. It's a finicky machine, I'll tell you that. But hey, you know, could be worse. We could be trying to do everything by hand. Yeah, see, minor adjustments, constant minor adjustments. Fortunately, we're at the 800 already, so it's not terrible. We'll be cruising on through it to the next one soon. Just letting this one go a little long, because you know the next stage we go up to is 1,000. So I want to make sure we've got, you know, all the major scratches out. And the other thing that I like to do is, if you look, so you see the water that's coming off of it. See how you got, oh, I suppose there. Now if you see that water building up a little bit, you can kind of see how muddy it is, or turbid. And this is where, with the, you know, basically everything coming from here on up, so the 800, 1,000, 3,000, 10,000, I really am watching that water. Because I was watching one of the old timers who actually pioneered this whole method, and he was saying, watch your water, you know, watch your drips. Once your drips are clear, then you can move on to the next stage. And thing is he was working primarily with harder materials, and so you have to adjust that a little bit for the softer materials, because otherwise you're just going to keep going and going and going. Now, fortunately, once we get past this 800, and I would say the final two stages, right? So the 3,000, the 10,000, those ones are pretty good for just letting it go. You know, and then what you do is you just watch your water on that and make sure that, because you'll actually notice that right now it's kind of like a gray white. Once we get up to the higher stages there, it becomes more of a brown color actually. And so I just watch my water, makes it easy. All around you have grapes. Let us hear the tech name. Botulism. You mean botryoidal? Is that what you're trying to go for there, Epoch? Is botryoidal? Like in my last video? Yeah. It's turning in one direction. Yeah, exactly. And then, watch this there, Romania. See how we get that marginal adjustment? When are you doing a core video? Actually, that's a good question there, Corey. So what I've been trying to do is I've been working on trying to get a sponsor. So I'm going to be doing that soon, actually. But I needed to try to get the sponsor first, because, you know, YouTube. But we might have a sponsor with the core drill bits that I already use. So they're going to help me out on that one. And then, yeah, I'm going to go through the entire process, show you what's up. You know, I got to be honest though, once you actually get it going, it's time-lapse city, because all I'm doing is sitting there going, kind of boring, but it is pretty cool, you know. In fact, it's actually, to be honest, it's one of my favorite parts. And plus the core drill, you know, it's a beast. It's a beast. I like it. How's the roughing machine set up? Same motors as this machine, very close, very similar. So you can see how this one's got the wider fans on the back. This one has pretty much the same setup here, but I would say these motors are a little beefier. So sometimes what you'll notice is when I try to start this one up, it actually won't. The motor's kind of like there's too much pressure or something on them, and so they won't turn. And so what I've got to do is, you know, take a little bit of slack off of them, or give them a little slack, and then they start going. And so they're basically the same thing, but these ones are faster and these ones are stronger. So that's a good way to look at it. Got to get some Susie Homemaker stuff. Keep looking forward to hearing from you. Oh, absolutely. Now for real. I will be getting at you soon, Debbie. I promise. We just had a crazy busy week, and so I did fall behind a little bit. That and a lot of that video that I just did, that took a lot of editing, and I'm still kind of slow at my editing process. I mean, I was down for like a year, and so it really did slow me down on quite a few things, including the editing proficiency and efficiency. So, but I mean, that was a great video. I really enjoyed it. I think that a lot of people did. It seems to be getting some good traction on YouTube. So if you guys know anybody else who might enjoy that video, please share it. It definitely helps the channel out tremendously. So what are we looking at? I'd say we probably should go about 3 more minutes on this one. And you see how just every once in a while I'm adjusting it slightly? So I let it do its thing for a little bit, then I'll adjust it, because I want to really make sure that we're getting everything covered. And then what we'll do is, yeah, I see that, the water, turbidity of the water. So it's still doing pretty decent, still cutting. Hey, thanks, Debbie. We'll be talking with you soon, and thanks for joining tonight. Best video yet. Well, I definitely appreciate that, Rock Dude. Definitely appreciate it, man. It took quite a bit of work, and I'm glad, we were able to get as much as we did. We'll definitely have to get you some of that stuff too, buddy, because this was basically the biggest piece that I kept. Nate and Danielle have the rest in their garage. They're getting everything cleaned up, and they're going to be processing a bunch of it, putting it on the website and stuff like that, but we'll make sure we save some for you. I did have the smaller one too. Yeah, it's pretty nice stuff. But, most of that we're going to prep it up for the show in March. Going to get some nice specimen out of it. There was that one that had that really nice, it was amethyst, but of course the amethyst that we have around here is pretty light, but it's unique. It's not often that you find really nice Medfordite with amethyst, Hey, Rockin' Lady, good to see ya. All right, just get a little bit more out of this one, and then we'll swap over to the 1000 grit. Hey, good to hear from you, Reload. Send me a message, and we'll be talking soon. Appreciate you joining tonight. Yeah, Rock Dude, definitely. Um, I think that there is a there is definitely a piece that I'm thinking we do want to make a sphere out of, but I'm going to talk with Nate and Danielle, see what they have to say, because I think that there was talks about making, um, some specimens out of it. So we'll see. I think it would be nice to make a sphere out of it, though. I could see that there was a tiny little spot that was not getting covered, and so I had to do a slight adjustment, and it kind of looks like right now that we don't have the best pattern going, but ultimately it's covering exactly where I want it to. So we'll let this go just another couple minutes. Otherwise, we would have been ready to take it out. Fortunately, I caught that. Exactly. Yep. Good call there, Rock Dude. It was weird too, because it was like just a small piece about the size of a dime up underneath that just wasn't getting covered. I definitely did like the package there, Epoch. I was going to show it off, but I got behind on some stuff. And as you can see, now I'm fighting this thing, huh? Get that for just a second. Just a little squirrely on this one because we noticed that issue there. And now I can see buildup over here on the front. See, that's the funkiness of the machine, I tell you. So I'm going to try something real quick. We're going to check it out real quick. It is looking pretty good. I think we got it covered. On to 1,000, huh? That's what I want. Right on, Epoch. Look forward to seeing it, buddy. Oh yeah, Sticks and Stones. This is a nice one. It's got a lot of good character in it. Plus, the light definitely penetrates pretty well in a couple good spots. Speaking of though, I probably will be doing some marble here before too long. I've got a couple, 3 or 4 pieces of marble that I collected recently outside, along with a couple pieces of gneiss, and so just want to try some different material. But you know, I got a lot of this antiquerite to go. Oh yeah, absolutely, Oregon. This is good stuff. Um, this is part of the reason why I really like this. You know, the whole process actually, because doing the core drilling is really cool too, because it's just like cutting. So you don't know what's going to be inside, and so when you first pull that core up, it's like oh or oh, you know. But it's a lot of fun. And then as you go through it, you know, you get something kind of funky like this get turned into a perfect sphere. A really good job, and just put the time and effort into it, you end up getting a really quality product in the end. And I mean, you can't really say that about everything sometimes, you know. I mean, I've tried to do the tumbling thing a lot. I've tried a lot of tumbling. I hate it. It's ridiculous. I do have, and then even the high-speed machine, once I get that from Highland Park, is going to be 110 as well. I used to have a wood lathe, which is going to sometimes it's cold and it sucks, and I don't like to be cold. I'm sure you've seen me before. I'm using water jugs because we don't actually have water in here, and so once we get the shop built, we're going to have not only water, but we're going to have hot and cold water, and so It's going to be so much nicer in the wintertime. I'm actually thinking that because we're going to put, some lean-tos on the outside and stuff for like the boat and the tractor and fifth wheel and stuff like that. I'm thinking that it would be cool to set up like a shower on the outside. So if I'm doing like some really dusty work or something like that, I can just go in behind the barn and, because, yeah, rock dust is nothing that you want to mess around with, and sometimes I get covered in the stuff. In fact, if you could see, that was from yesterday, and this thing is absolutely coated in rock dust. It's kind of gnarly. I mean, it was all in my hair and everything. It was just brutal. But it was also kind of fun and kind of funny if you were watching me. Marble is the soft material I ever cut. So messy to wet grind as well. Yep, exactly. And yeah, you should have saw it yesterday, man. It was pretty funny. I'll show you real quick. So yeah, that's my wonky angle grinder setup that I had straight up bolted to a railroad tie that we have as a fence post. And I was just like, just going crazy on it. I was straight up coated from head to toe, just white. Fortunately, I figured it out and put like a rain suit on, and I had the face mask, and I had the respirator, and safety glasses on, and everything. And so, for the most part, I was safe. But yeah, it was definitely, well, to be honest, it wasn't worth it. Tumbling goes for months, yeah. And one little bit of, what do you call it? Contamination can throw the whole thing off. That is infuriating to me. I cannot handle it. Because there's no way to know. There's no way to know if it was contaminated. And so I don't want to wait, weeks, if not months, to find out that I failed. With this, I can wait 10 minutes and it's like, oh, looks like I missed a spot. Do a little adjustment there. How did would using oil instead of water work? Now, oil would work, but just not for this. So, I mean, I'm sure somebody has tried it, but yeah, definitely not. I think it would be a huge mess. And I think you would burn through oil, to be honest. Because, like, unless you had some kind of filter and, circulation system, yeah. I mean, fortunately, what I do is, like, you saw me draining the bucket out here into another bucket, because then what I do is I let that bucket settle. And then I have a gopher hole that I end up pouring all the water into. And then once I get a bunch of that slurry and stuff, I bag that up into a paper bag and throw it into the trash. Actually, this is getting... You can tell that that one's getting pretty close to be needing changed. Got no sound, got to refresh. That's bizarre. Hopefully I still have sound. Homemade finger deleter for sure. For sure. And that's the other thing that I didn't really like about it. It just felt super dangerous. Does everybody else have sound? Good to sounds good is a good metric. Bro, I don't know what you were just saying there, Epoch. Yeah, it looks like we got a decent little pattern, but it seems like, there we go. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the sound. I swear, it's like a struggle. And you know what the thing is too, is like I put a little lapel mic on before. I've tried that, and the problem is with that is it's omnidirectional, and so it just picks up the machine way too much. So then I got to increase my voice and everything, and it's just, I swear, you know what would be really nice is if I had like a little office room that I could go into and sit in there and talk at a normal volume, and then just watch on the other side, and you know, control everything. Oh, hey, I'm gonna go out real quick, swap over the cups or something like that. But hey, you know, eventually we'll get this all dialed in. We'll have a more professional setup. You know, we'll get our sound figured out. Because I mean, this microphone's pretty good, but eventually I'll want to get a better one. You know, just one thing at a time. Getting to refining. You sound good. Okay, cool. So yeah. See that water there? So it's still pretty white. And since this is our 1000 grit, we'll let it go for a little bit. But what I think I need to do is I do need to do a slight adjustment on this, because I feel like we are getting, although the pattern looks pretty good, I feel it's too consistent. Try something like that for a little bit. Tell you though, 1000 grit's one of my favorite stages, because this is when you actually start getting some shine on everything. Such a finicky little machine. Motors are staying cool though, and that's really what's important, because that one in the rear was getting warm earlier. This one back here, I think I just had it slightly angled, but that one actually has the second largest gaps. This one has the largest gaps, so like right here, where it comes into the frame, there's gaps because this wood right here is not the same width on all three of the slides. I don't know how they did that, but it was special. And then, of course, when they were building it, the slide frames are not the same width either. And so, if they don't put them in the right spots, well, then they're not going to fit appropriately. And I bet you what happened was when whoever was building this thing, you know, they were probably like, "Oh, why is it not working?" Well, now you know why. I'm gonna try to shim this back one up real quick. So you see how that water's starting to get a little bit darker? It's not nearly as white as it was. So I've noticed that. What that means, we're getting pretty close to being able to switch over to the next grit. Pretty excited for this one, I'll tell you. It's going to be pretty awesome. Let's see, we'll give it like 2 more minutes, and I think we'll swap over to the next grit. That's the other nice thing about when we build the shop is once we have water piped in there, I'll actually be able to get a glass of water because I feel like every time I forget, I'll bring my little Red Bull in here, but then it's like, oh yeah, where's my water? Yeah, that gloss really does confuse the camera though sometimes, I'll tell you. That's probably one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to getting, besides the high-speed machine, is like a proper camera. We've been fortunate with the webcam, and it's working for the most part, but I tell you, it's going to be so much different once we actually get a proper camera, because then we'll actually be able to see, especially that end result. Because, as I've shown you before, sometimes when I try to show you the end result, it gets so confused. Now you see over here on the front how we were getting buildup over there. Now it's going a little bit better. All right, let's check this. for the most part, looking pretty good. Don't see any flaws on it yet. Oh, yeah. I'd say that's ready. You can kind of see it's starting to get a gloss on it. Why is this being funky? Like I said, finicky little machine. It's like you'll have it doing exactly what you want 1 minute. You change the cups out, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, I don't want to do that no more. Yes, sir, Casey. I did change these out because the last ones, the problem I was having is inconsistency. They were, you know, basically 3 different springs, and so I wanted to try to reduce the variables of what I'm having to mess around with. So we went and got a couple new ones. These ones seems to be working pretty well, but as you can tell, there's always little adjustments that I'm having to do. So a big problem that I keep facing is you have different gaps on all these slides, and each one of the slides has a different amount of gap in between. And so if I switch this one over, if I pull it one side or the other, it changes it. Then the motor itself, because it's of the way it's mounted on hinges, like door hinges. Yeah, I mean, in theory it works, right? But in practice, it's like 80%, And so I can move this. You can see it there on camera. Not only can I move or does it move the ball, but you can see how much it actually moves. Now the problem with that is it looks good right there, right? Well, what am I going to do? Am I going to hold it there? And as soon as I let go, it changes it. And then on top of it, you have like, okay, well, what about this? If I move this one, if I pull it towards me and then adjust the motor, it's like, okay, well, how do I get that to stay consistent, right? It's just all these little tweaks. But those kind of things won't happen with a professional machine. So we just deal with it for now. And I mean, could be worse. Fortunately, it looks like it's doing at least most of what we want right now. And we're not tweaking the motors too much to actually get it to do that. We do have 2 of the 3 motors just barely shimmed right now. You can see this one shimmed up a little bit, and then this guy right here is shimmed up. That one's also shimmed up, and so that's not terrible. But we are going to have to adjust it before too long, because although it does look like it's kind of a random pattern, it's more of like, doing this, which that's fine. But when you have a little bit bigger of a ball like this, it leaves yourself open to missing spots. And so that's where we'll just slightly adjust these little shims and everything like that, and work with what we got. Oh God, if I bought a professional machine and had the same issues, I don't know what I would do. But the difference is like with the Highland Park machines, you're talking about straight up a precision machine. So I mean, you have little, so each of these slides, you actually have a crank on them with fine teeth, right? And so you can adjust them as you go. Plus, you're also going to have everything's going to be much more true, right? So as you can see, you got a little bit of wobble in these cups. It's not a whole lot, but I would say this one you could, this one. Yeah, you can see it in this one pretty decent. And why is that? It's because these are wonky home build adapters, you know? They're not made for that. And so even though it's not a whole lot of wobble here, it is wobble. So you see how we got that. See how the water is pretty clear, but it gets a little bit darker now. It's not so white. That's what I've noticed when you get over to these higher grips. You know, when you're doing the full-blown polishing, you almost don't see any of that white. It's definitely much more black and brown, which is crazy too, because if I look on this cup, up underneath the water is almost completely clear. And that's actually what I'm watching a lot of the time. Oddly enough, looking here on the TV screen that I've got everything, you know, showing me, it actually really helps because I can kind of see what's going on there, plus the angle that I have. So, I mean, it's not the best setup in the world, but hey, you know, we've got it dialed in, I would say. Retired fabricator, I'm kind of surprised it does as well as it does. Hey man, Casey, you know, not only does it do the best that it can, but I do the best I can. Figure it out, right? That's also why I bought 2 packs of shims. They've been a lifesaver, I tell ya. I mean, one day though, we'll have a super awesome machine and we'll just cranking them out. No, so what gives it the random rotation is it catches different parts of the cup, right? And so if you look at like the Highland Park high-speed machine, it still does the same thing even though everything is true. Oh yeah, Casey. That thing is incredibly well engineered. I was actually telling, hey Wooden Chrome, good to see you, buddy. I was telling Epoch, my little brother, the other day, you know, I was like, yeah, eventually I want to get this machine. And so we pull up the website, you know, I send him a link. I think he was looking on his phone, but the first picture he sees is like the top down view and it's got like a bungee cord. And he's like, what the hell is this, man? What are you doing? What do you mean? This is not a good machine. And I was like, no, dude, no. Stop looking at the bungee cord. The bungee cord is not what you need to pay attention to. Look at the rest of the machine. And then they have a couple videos on the website there that actually shows it. And I mean, you can see it's highly engineered. I mean, it's not fabricated. No, man, it's engineered. That's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure, Wooden Chrome. Got it about ready to polish, buddy. You know, just trying to get it. This one's really nice too, buddy. This one's really nice. I'm pretty stoked about it. You know, and fortunately I ended up getting 3 cores out of this rock that I found. 3. Oh, you can't kind of see. So we have this 4-inch. We've got another 4-inch. But the other 4-inch has a big divot in it that I need to take care of. I got a little greedy when I was coring. You know, got some of the rind. But hey, it was worth it. So I'll grind that out and prep that one out. And then I got a 3.5-inch as well. So I'm really stoked about it. And I mean, it's got some wicked characteristics in it. Now, even though, so you can see the black spot on there when I was showing you guys earlier. that's actually a big, more than likely chromite. It could be magnesium, but most of the time it's chromite. You know, it's going to be a big inclusion in there, but I think it actually gives it character. You know, one of the things I like about the spheres is it really does kind of look like, you know, celestial bodies, you know, kind of like a planet. And I think this one's going to really look like a planet. It's going to be awesome. Let's do a little bit of fine adjusting real quick. There we go. Get a little funky spin on that thing. Yeah, keep it simple. Exactly. You know, because that really goes along with what I was saying before, is whenever you're doing something, you want to take as many variables out of the equation as possible, because ultimately that's what you're doing. You have a calculus that you're doing, and the more variables that you can remove from that calculus, the easier the equation becomes. And so, you know, even if we're just making something like a sphere here, well, there's going to be a bunch of unknown things here, you know, a bunch of variables that we're just going to have to deal with. But there's also certain variables that we'll be able to take out of it. So like, for instance, what I was saying with the chains earlier, you know, we had these other chains on there that they were all worn out and, you know, just used and abused. It looks like somebody like intentionally overstretched them. And so that was really messing with me. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go spend the $4 and get some extra springs. And in fact, I got another set too, because I didn't know if this was the size that I wanted or if I wanted the shorties. And so there, I also went through the entire bin that they had there. I was like, okay, yes, that's pretty good. What about the next one? Nope, that's way too tight. Yes, okay. Yeah, I think these ones will work. And fortunately I did, because the roughing machine is going to need some new springs here before too long. Now they're still in pretty good shape, like from the eye, but you can just tell they're getting worn out, because like I can pull on them pretty easily and they're just getting tired, you know. So I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is swapping those ones out with these smaller ones, because we tend to have more tension on this machine than we do on this thing. And now I was having more tension on this originally, but I was noticing that my motors were getting hot. Yeah, and see, actually this motor is getting kind of warm. But I was noticing that I was having starting issues. And then I also noticed that when I got to the higher stages, I was getting not necessarily scratches, but more like skids, you know, kind of like skid marks, right? And so I didn't know if that was a pressure issue, a water issue, a combination of both, you know, what was going on. So I was just like, all right, how about this? We're gonna go through and we're gonna mess around, see what we can actually figure out. And I just ended up adding more water, so then you guys could see. And then I've just been backing things out. Now, one thing I'll end up probably showing you guys when I make a video of this whole thing, because I like to do live streams, is like, you know, just hang out with you guys, chat. You know, if you have any questions that I can answer, yeah, try to answer them, right? But I'm going to go through and actually explain everything. I'm going to explain the core drill. I'm going to explain the whole process, you know, and all the little nuances that I've been messing with in a video or two or a series or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you know, I think there's a lot of interesting things that I could probably show people with the whole sphere making thing. Especially, you know, because most people, that's what they're doing. They're using these home build machines. You know, most people can't afford to just go and drop, you know, 5 to 10 grand on a professional machine. It's just not going to happen. you know, unless you're getting up to a higher echelon, like you got a bunch of sails and stuff. But, you know, I think that's what the big part here is, having some community and, well, trying to be useful and help you guys if you end up wanting to do this, you know. Plus, I really like making spheres, you know, what can I say? Yeah, and so you can see that water's pretty much clear. So I'd say that's about ready to go. So you see how that actually, when I turn that thing off, it kind of, everything stopped rather quickly and it all stopped at once. See, that's where you can see that there might be just a little too much tension on some of these. So I actually think it was this one that had too much tension and this one right here, because those two motors are actually pretty warm and the third motor is just over room temperature. You can already see that gloss. It's looking pretty nice, huh? All right, final one. We're going to do 10,000. It's raining. That's not a bad starting rotation. I'm assuming we'll be able to do small adjustments. You know what the crazy part is too? Is so you can kind of see right here there's a little wing nut. And I leave them loose most of the time because, once again, it's another variable. Now, what's crazy is if I hold this thing down, you'll actually change the rotation of it. So I tend to, if I get everything right where I want it, it's doing a nice rotation and everything, I'll just leave it. Call it good. You know, it's kind of one of those things. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, we're doing pretty good tonight. Looks like we're at a little over 2 hours, so not too bad. Won't be long, man. You'll get it. I'm hoping, buddy. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to do. And, yep. You know, I'm going to earn my way to getting what I want in life. It's the way it is, right? Spheres are too taboo at the rock shop in Montana. Really? That's crazy. I figured that everybody loves spheres, you know? Hey, thanks, Rockin' Lady. Did you ever see that one that I gave Rock Dude? Hope you like that one. I made that one special for him. Having clamshell looking white bugs opening the outside of some of the most sought after. Yeah, I bet. And so that's another thing that is interesting about these home game machines. So since we're using polishing pads here, a lot of the times doing something like having cavities or bugs or anything like that, it's not going to happen. The little polishing pad segments will actually get caught and they'll rip right off. And so that's another reason why you want both, to be honest. You want the production cups and you want the pads, because the pads are going to work good for some things, but the production cups are going to work well for others. And for the most part, they're going to work better than the pads. But the pads are also cheap, you know, so if you can get away with it, use the cheap stuff. But if you really need to get that, you know, high precision and everything like that, use the pro stuff. Yeah, they call everything with chromite moss agate. Speaking of the moss agate there, how'd you like that Medfordite that I had in my last video there, wood and chrome? It's pretty awesome stuff, huh? It's super sought after around here. And it's getting much, much, much harder to find nowadays. Like, you used to be able to go out and find a bunch of that stuff, but now what's happening is usually when you go out and find it, it's more like red and brown instead of that nice bright green. So it's been way more oxidized. It's just inferior quality, right? So finding that with such high quality of a quartz content with all the, you know, the dendrites or moss, as you want to call it, was really nice. Because a lot of the what makes the Medfordite special is that it's more of a quartz as opposed to an agate. And then having the amethyst in it really takes it up to the next level. Now, unfortunately, the amethyst we have here is super light, but I ain't complaining, that's for sure. Hey man, I'm glad you could come in. Always good to see you, Wood and Chrome. Yeah, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? Exactly. Do you know how many times I say that? All the time. In fact, that's what I was telling Epoch the other day. I was like, hey, bro, it's just the way it is, man. You know? This is why we do it. It's just like with mining Oregon sunstones. It ain't easy. It ain't. I mean, it's a lot easier than gold mining, I'll tell you that. Gold mining, no. I'm not going to mine all day long to get a flake of gold. It's just, no. Not a gold guy anyway. I don't really wear jewelry and stuff like that. You know what, Epoch? I would make Dragon Balls, but I can't get the Oregon Fire Opal that big. I'd have to make little ones, you know? I mean, I might be able to make like maybe 2.5 inch, but that would be a pretty penny. But yeah, dude, Dragon Balls would be great. Oh yeah, and you know, the other thing, Wood and Chrome, is we have, oh, you know, so we pulled out a decent amount. You know, I'd say between the couple trips, you know, 350 pounds or so. And I would say that if we get that back part of the cavity there, um, probably be able to get about another 100 pounds or so. But the problem is we've got about 2 feet of really, really thick, hard, super, super hard basalt that we're trying to get through right now. And we don't have a whole lot, but you know, it's just like the feather wedges that we were using just were not quite, they weren't quite big enough. And so we were taking like basically little chips out of, you know, we're using a lot of energy to get little chips out. And so it's like, nah, dude, let's just take what we got, and then maybe we'll get like some bigger feather wedges and bring like, you know, a proper sledge up there and really, really smash that out, because, you know, the thing that we want to do is we want to make sure we can get as much of it intact as possible, because it's all just a bunch of like quartz encrusted tube agate, and we don't know. Well, that's also medfordite as well, you know, because it goes medfordite into the quartzy, you know, tube agate type stuff. But we also don't know how much amethyst is there, and we also don't know how much of the C4. I wish, bud. We don't know how much amethyst is in there, because clearly that pocket had a lot of amethyst in it. So, yeah, I'm excited. And actually, I'm really excited that it's raining, because I want to see that pocket cleaned out a little bit. You know, it's definitely been worked in the past, but I think people just kind of got greedy. And so we took our time and kind of took what we could. And fortunately, we were able to get up underneath it, and it was just popping it up. I mean, we got really lucky. Kind of feel like, you know, that's how it is sometimes. You know, people get in there and they're working and working, and they're just like, oh man, I can't do anymore, right? And then the next guy comes in and it's just like pop, pop, pop. Oh yeah, there we go, wee, you know. And so yeah, we did a really good job, and Nate was having a blast, you know. And it's always good to be out having fun with friends, you know. Oh yeah, dude. Appreciate that, Rock, dude. Definitely appreciate that, man. Because yeah, the feather wedges we were using were like, I'm not even joking, like maybe 3 inch. Now don't get me wrong, they were helpful to a degree, but I think for the most part we needed bigger feather wedges. I mean, he got them super cheap though. He got them really, really cheap, so it wasn't that bad. I think I'm gonna need to adjust this just a bit. Oh yeah, 4 inch. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the big ones. Yeah, the salt will split with wedges, but you know, what we were doing is we'd drill some holes in there, and then I that's the other thing, is I think Nate might have been drilling the holes a little too deep um, for, you know, what we were actually able to break off. Plus, there was like, so you could see that there was like seams, agate seams, that were acting as kind of like cracks for us. And so we tried to use those as much as possible. But ultimately, what we needed to do is we needed to, so if you've got your face like this, right? We needed to come down like this and take layers off. But what was happening is we'd drill it like this, and then drill it like this, and then drill it like this, and then drill it like that. And so I think if we would have had bigger feather wedges, it would have been much, much more productive, because then we could have just like drilled it in like this and popped it up, and drilled it like that and then popped up the next layer. But overall, you know, it's really hard to complain when you take a bunch of the good stuff. Yeah, there's some of them. It was me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Epoch. Already, the water is looking pretty clear already. It's not too bad. We'll just give it another couple minutes to make sure, because I did do that adjustment just a minute ago, and we're not getting crazy pattern on it. There we go. That should help. Oh yeah, Oregon, you're gonna love this one, buddy. I know I am for sure. I've been looking forward to this one all day. In fact, it was really hard for me to not put this one in the machine earlier today, because once I took it out of the roughing machine, it almost went directly into this machine. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I was like, oh, no, I'll save this one for the stream. You know, and so I ended up putting this one in the 100 as well, just to see. And it turned out decent, so I threw the other one in and then realized that it had some deep scratches in there. And I was like, oh man, that needs to go back into the roughing machine. Fortunately, it'll only probably take another 15 minutes for that one. This one, though, on the other hand, I can't believe how long it took. I think this stuff is just a little bit harder, but what's really neat is I'll see if I can show you real quick, actually. So this one really is going to look like a planet. And what's cool is like the yellow patches in there, they actually kind of like, because it was how the rock was. It was like the layers, right? And so what's really neat is like it definitely looks like swirls more than anything. And I've got two of those as well. So I'm hoping the other one isn't going to take quite as long as that one did, because I mean 3.5 hours. Jeez, that's a long roughing session. Now, don't get me wrong. Part of that is because I still suck at doing my preforms. I need to get a better wheel for Frank back there, because like I'm using the 60 grit silicon carbide right now, and I was using that angle grinder, and then sometimes I go down to the shop and use this crosshatch 80 grit, and that thing works amazingly well. And I was just going to buy one the other day, and then I jumped on to Kingsley North and noticed that they had a 50-60 grit of the same crosshatch type, and I was like, oh yeah, was going to go buy that, and then of course they're sold out. So I signed up on the email and said, notify me when this thing is in stock again, because it's gonna speed up my process quite a bit. Because I mean, Frank back here, Frank's a beast. That was actually the first lapidary machine I ever got. It's a 1/3 horsepower motor on a Poly D14 arbor. And I gotta tell you, the Poly D14 is the way to go. I mean, the whole rock shop down at the Crater Rock Museum, boom, they got like, what, four or five of them there. No, they got more than that. I think there's like four on one side and two on the other, all poly D14s. And then the nice part is you can switch them from silicon carbide speed over to diamond if you want to, just by adjusting the belt. So if you're looking to build a machine, it's one of the best ways to go. Because I mean, those poly D14 arbors are cheap. You can find them anywhere. I mean, I got this thing on Craigslist. It came with a tile saw, and originally I only wanted the tile saw, right? Because I was new at doing the lapidary stuff, and didn't really know what I was buying. But I bought the whole package for like $250, and I was like, yeah, this thing's kind of ratty and whatever. And then, of course, the expandable drum is just like, it's worn to all hell. So I need to get a new one of those. But I was like, well, I can spend $120 on the new expandable drum, or I could just buy brand new, crosshatch wheel for a little bit less, and it's gonna be a lot better for what I actually need it. Plus, I gotta put some water. I was like, why isn't it dripping? But I filled that bucket up. Guess I'm going through a lot more water than I thought. You can see that rotation's looking great though. Funny. All right, I would say that's probably good. But I did let it go dry for just a second, so let me see what this looks like. You know, sometimes though, when I have just that perfect rotation, I don't want to let it. I don't want to turn it off. I just want to let it keep going because I'm like, yeah, that's the spot right there. All right. Moment of truth here, you guys. Make sure we got this thing fully dry. We want it shine like glass. Yeah, that's looking good. Pretty wicked. That's a big ball, too. Alrighty, you guys. Well, turned out pretty well, I'd say. Appreciate everybody joining tonight. And I hope you guys have a excellent rest of your weekend. I know I'm going to try to have another one of these for next week for you guys. I'm thinking we might save this one right here, which is just like the one we just did. But I can't make any promises, unfortunately. You know, it's going to be tough to not throw that one straight into the machine once I get it going. But I think we're going to call it tonight, and I appreciate everybody joining, and I appreciate everybody all the members tonight. And yeah, definitely see you next weekend. Thanks for joining tonight.